From the outside, we looked like a perfect family. 2 parents, 2 kids, smiles in photos, matching sweaters on Christmas. But behind the front door, love had a price, and it was only paid in one direction. Liam was the golden child. He got the praise, the attention, the second chances. His mistakes were growing pains. His dreams, funded, encouraged, applauded. Me, I was Claire. Just Claire. No trophies on my wall, no proud speeches at dinner. If I got an A, it was expected. If I cried, I was too sensitive. If Liam sneezed, Mom brought tea, blankets, and 3 kinds of soup. If I had a fever, you'll be fine by morning. He was everything they wanted. I was everything they forgot. And I tried. God, I tried to believe it wasn't on purpose. But deep down, I knew. In that house, some children are raised. Others are just tolerated. It was just another Thursday. School let out. The sun was warm. Liam offered to drive me home. Not because he wanted to, but because Mom asked him to. He talked the whole ride. Something about an internship. Some big opportunity Mom was pushing him toward. I sat in the passenger seat, headphones in, half listening, half existing. I remember staring out the window. A red light, a dog walker, a breeze that felt like spring was trying to come early. And then, tires screamed. The steering wheel jerked. Metal tore. I felt myself flying. Glass cut my skin. Something heavy slammed into my chest. My body folded like paper. Then blackness. No warning, no goodbye, just dawn. The world came back in pieces. First the light, too bright, too sterile. Then the smell, antiseptic, sharp, cold. Then pain, deep, dull, everywhere. I tried to move my arms. Tubes, needles, weight. My chest ached like someone had stitched me together with barbed wire. My throat burned. My lips were cracked. I couldn't speak, only groan. A nurse noticed. She gasped, then ran to call someone. For a moment, I thought, maybe they're coming now. Maybe they'll cry. Maybe they'll hold me. Maybe I matter. But when the door opened, it wasn't relief I saw on my parents' faces. It was exhaustion, not from worry, but from inconvenience. "She's awake," my mom said flatly. Not to me, to the doctor. My father didn't speak, didn't move, didn't meet my eyes. No hand to hold, no whisper of, "Thank God." Just silence. The kind that answers every question you were too afraid to ask. I always thought the first words I'd hear after waking up from a near-death experience would be something like, "Thank God she's alive," "Baby, we're here," or even just "Claire." But instead, I got this, "Oh, she's awake." 3 words, cold, flat, detached. My mother didn't reach for me. My father didn't even blink. No trembling voice, no rush to my bedside, no hand grabbing mine like they'd almost lost me. Just a simple, indifferent observation, like someone noticing a pot of water starting to boil. She's awake. Like I was a task on a checklist. Like I was the car that got towed, not the person who nearly died in it. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. Not the pain in my body, but the pain I hadn't wanted to admit. This isn't love. This isn't family. This is survival, and I'm on my own. The pain kept me awake. It wasn't just physical, though. That was bad enough. My ribs throbbed. My side burned. Every breath felt like I was being stitched together again from the inside out. But what hurt more was the silence. No one had come. Not Liam, not Mom, not Dad. The only visitors I had were nurses, strangers who showed more kindness than my own family. It was sometime after midnight. The hallway light flickered under the crack of my door. The room was cold, even under layers of hospital blankets. My fingers trembled, my teeth clenched. I was drifting between sleep and pain when I heard it. Whispers, a man's voice, my father. A woman's voice, my mother. Low, urgent, just outside my door. I froze. They weren't whispering like parents afraid to wake their child. They were whispering like people who didn't want to be heard, and I listened. I held my breath. Their voices were low, but not low enough. So, if we take her other kidney, what happens? She wouldn't survive, the doctor answered firmly. She's already lost one. Removing the second would kill her. A pause. Then my father's voice, sharp and decisive, Liam needs it. He has a future, my mother added. He's healthy, ambitious. He can do something with his life. And her, my father said coldly, she's just a girl. She doesn't even know what she wants to be. She's weak, Mom muttered. She'll never be able to carry children. She'll never run again. And then, this would be a sacrifice that finally means something. My chest tightened. They weren't just talking about me. They were talking about ending me, to save him, and they said it like it was logical, reasonable, even noble. They weren't crying. They weren't torn. They were choosing. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I couldn't reach the call button. I couldn't even sit up. I lay there flat on my back, chest pounding, breath caught in my throat. The voices faded down the hallway, but their words stayed, echoed, etched, burned into the air around me like smoke that never cleared. They would have let me die, without asking, without warning. And for what? Because I wasn't Liam, because I was the spare, because being just a girl meant I was disposable. I turned my face into the pillow. Tubes tugged at my arms. My body refused to move, but the tears didn't. They came fast and hot, soaking into the fabric, muffling the sound of a breaking heart. Not loud, not violent, just quiet. The kind of quiet that comes when a part of your soul finally gives up. I thought I had already heard the worst of it, but then my mother spoke again. Not with grief, not with hesitation, not even with guilt. She's never done anything useful. At least this time, she'll finally serve a purpose. Those words didn't land on my skin. They landed somewhere deeper, somewhere words shouldn't reach, like a needle to the heart. Like a knife to the part of me that still wanted to be loved. I wasn't even a daughter to her anymore. I was an object, a solution, a thing to be used, then buried quietly. And it wasn't said in anger. It was said in cold, cruel logic, like throwing out a broken appliance because the newer one still works. And in that moment, I realized something that cut sharper than any surgery ever could. The worst betrayal isn't when your family forgets you. It's when they choose someone else to live instead of you. The sun rose, but it didn't bring warmth, just light. Cold, clinical light that spilled across my sheets like a spotlight I never asked for. I hadn't slept, not really. I stared at the ceiling all night, hearing their voices over and over again, cutting through me more deeply than any scalpel could. By morning, I knew what I had to do. Not scream, not beg, not fall apart, just act. When the nurse came in to check my vitals, I looked her straight in the eye. My voice was calm, steady. I don't feel safe. 4 words. No panic, no breakdown, just the truth delivered like a whispered thunderclap. And something in her expression changed. She didn't ask why. She didn't hesitate. She simply nodded. Because sometimes you don't need to explain the storm. You just need someone to notice the clouds. They didn't tell me her name at first. They just said, "Someone's coming to speak with you. Someone who listens." And a few hours later, she walked in, quiet, calm, composed, mid-40s maybe. No clipboard, no rush, just soft eyes and a gentle smile. "Hi, Claire," she said, like we'd known each other in another life. "My name's Judith. I'm here to help." That's when I broke, not loudly, but inwardly, because no one had said that to me in years. Not, "I'm here to fix you," not, "I'm here to ask questions," but "I'm here to help." I didn't cry. I didn't need to, because Judith, she already knew. She sat across from me, her hands folded. She didn't interrupt. She didn't push. She just waited. The kind of waiting that says, you don't have to rush. Your story matters. I didn't tell Judith everything. Not at first. I didn't have to. All I said was, my parents asked the doctor to take my remaining kidney. They said I wasn't worth as much as my brother. That was it. No crying, no long speech. Just the facts. Judith didn't ask for more. She didn't need more. Because by then, the hospital's hallway audio system had already recorded pieces of the conversation. It was enough. Enough to trigger the emergency ethics board. Enough to push legal into action. Enough for a judge to sign off on an emergency protection order before the day ended. By sunset, my medical file was locked. My decisions were no longer theirs to make. My parents' names were removed from all access. They couldn't see me, touch me, control me. For the first time in my life, I belonged to myself. I couldn't walk, I could barely sit up, but for the first time, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel helpless. I felt seen, respected, protected, not because my body had healed, but because someone finally said, "You matter." And this time, it wasn't a whisper. It came from the law, from ethics boards, from nurses who stood in front of my door like guards, from Judith who never left my side. I didn't need an army. I had truth. I had evidence. I had just enough strength to say 4 words. I don't feel safe. And those words, they cracked open a system that for once didn't ask what I had done wrong, but asked how they could keep me alive. And suddenly, I wasn't just a patient. I was a person, with rights, with protection, with power. There were no balloons, no flowers, no welcome home cards. No parent standing at the door with open arms, no brother waiting with guilt in his eyes, no hugs, no tears, just Judith. She held my discharge papers in one hand, a warm scarf in the other. "It's cold out," she said softly, wrapping it gently around my shoulders. I didn't speak. I couldn't. Too many goodbyes I never got. Too many words I stopped waiting to hear. When the elevator doors opened, we stepped out into the real world, but nothing about it felt real. My legs shook with every step. The wind bit into my face. But Judith stayed close, her hand lightly on my back like a promise. "You're not alone. Not this time." The foster home wasn't much, just a 2-bedroom unit with peeling paint and humming pipes. The floor creaked, the window stuck, the ceiling fan wobbled like it was scared to spin. My room, 10 feet by 10, no decorations. Just a twin mattress, a small desk, and a secondhand blanket that smelled faintly of lavender and dust. It wasn't warm, it wasn't cozy, but it was quiet, and most importantly, it was safe. No footsteps pacing outside my door, no voices whispering about taking something from me, no one calling me weak or useless or a burden. Here, I could exhale, even if just a little. I wasn't free, not yet, but for the first time in my life, I wasn't in danger. There's something sacred about choosing your own name, not the one they gave you at birth. Not the one tied to documents or report cards, but the name that says, "This is who I am now. This is who I choose to be." Mine, Claire Olin. Claire because it meant bright clear in French, a light I never thought I'd see again. Olin because it belonged to my great-grandmother, the only woman in our bloodline who ever ran. She left a forced marriage in 1937 with nothing but a coat and a train ticket. They said she vanished, but I think she found something: freedom. I took her name like a torch passed down through generations, not to honor the family that betrayed me, but to reclaim the legacy they tried to erase. The girl I used to be, she didn't survive that hospital bed, but Claire Olin did, and she was just getting started. She didn't make a scene. She didn't coast her pain. She didn't need the world to clap for her survival. Claire just worked. She finished high school online from that little foster room with the creaky fan and the dusty blinds. She got a job at a secondhand bookstore, stacking shelves, sweeping floors, ringing up novels she couldn't afford to buy yet. She turned down scholarships from state aid programs, not because she was proud, but because she never wanted to owe anyone again. Every shift she saved, every test she passed, every silent night she used to plan, not cry. She was building something no one could see yet, a version of herself no one expected. Not loud, not flashy, but unshakable. The kind of strength that doesn't announce itself until it's already standing in the center of the room. At 24, Claire Olin didn't just survive, she thrived. COO of a rising healthcare startup, head of operations, trusted by investors, admired by staff, respected across the boardroom. She wore her name like armor now, sharp, polished, purposeful. Her voice calm but commanding, her decisions swift, strategic, unfaltering. She never raised her tone. She didn't need to. Power doesn't scream. It walks into a room and everyone stands straighter. Claire had become everything they said she'd never be. Strong, sharp, certain, not a donor, not a burden, not forgotten. She was the one people looked to. She was the name on the door. It was just another hiring cycle, another round of resumes, another morning of scanning names and credentials with half a cup of coffee and full authority. Until I saw it. A name I hadn't heard in years, but that still knew how to punch the air out of my lungs. Liam. Not just any Liam. Liam, last name. My brother. My almost executioner. The golden child they tried to keep alive by trading me in. I stared at the name, not blinking, not breathing. Was it a mistake? No. It was him. His resume, his photo, smiling, confident, clueless. He didn't know. He had no idea who ran this company now. No idea who sat in the COO chair. No idea that the sister he once left behind was about to read his qualifications. The door opened. He stepped in, smooth suit, polished shoes, confident shoulders. He looked around, clearly expecting a handshake, a smile, a polite welcome. He didn't get one, because I was already there, at the head of the boardroom table, sitting, still, waiting. He didn't recognize me. Not right away. His eyes skimmed the room until they landed on mine, and stopped. The color drained from his face. His posture shifted. His mouth opened, then closed. You're... I tilted my head, calm as ice. Alive. Yes, and I read your resume, Liam. Silence. He stood there, stunned, blinking, calculating, still trying to place me, still trying to believe what he was seeing, because the last time he saw me, I was unconscious, hooked to machines, and nearly erased. Now I was the one with the final say. His voice cracked first. You're the COO. I nodded, slow and steady. And you're applying to the very company I help run. He tried to smile, a weak plastic grin. Look, I didn't know. I didn't know what Mom and Dad said. I wasn't part of it. I leaned forward, elbows on the table, fingers laced, eyes locked on his. I know. Because I heard it, all of it. He swallowed. I didn't blink. They said I wasn't worth as much. That you were the future. That I should be sacrificed for you. I was 17, Liam. I was broken, bleeding, and they wanted to finish the job. He looked down. Shame crept into the corners of his face. But it was too late for shame, because now the roles had reversed. I was no longer the silent girl in a hospital bed. I was the one holding the pen, the chair, the power. And the boy who once walked away without looking back now had to look up at me and ask for mercy. He waited, silent, still hoping, but I was done waiting. I stood up, walked slowly toward the window. The skyline shimmered below us, millions of lives moving forward. And then I spoke without turning around. I created a policy here. He blinked, confused. It protects applicants who've been hurt by family, betrayed, silenced, dismissed, and it bans anyone who's been part of that harm. Now I turned. My eyes met his. So, no, Liam, you don't get to work here. Not because I'm bitter, but because I've built a place where people like me are safe. He opened his mouth, but I held up a hand. This isn't revenge. This is protection. You don't pass. And just like that, the interview ended. He stood up, frustrated, flushed, fists clenched behind his back like a child about to scream. "This is ridiculous," he muttered. "You're ruining my chance over the past." I stepped forward, calm, measured. "No, Liam. I'm protecting my future." He laughed, short, bitter. "You're so dramatic, still playing the victim." I didn't flinch. I just looked at him, steady, unshaken. "You're wearing a suit," I said quietly, "but you're not worthy of it. Not here. Not in a place I built brick by brick while you forgot I existed." His face turned red. He opened his mouth. I turned away. "Security will see you out." He stormed toward the door, but turned back, eyes burning. "You're ruining my life." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't move. I just looked at him and answered, "And you, along with them, tried to end mine." He blinked. "You're alive, aren't you?" My voice lowered. "Barely." I woke up in a hospital bed with tubes in my arms and silence in the room. No hands holding mine, no tears, just negotiations for my organs. Silence fell between us, heavy, cracking. He looked away. "Whatever, you're still bitter." I nodded once. "No, I'm done being bitter. I'm building." He didn't answer. And then he left. No apology, no guilt, just footsteps and a door closing behind him forever. After Liam left, I sat down, calm, unshaken. I called HR. Simple tone, no emotion. Blacklist the name Liam Mathers. Pause. Not just for us. Notify all partner firms. Anyone under our startup umbrella. Every network, every boardroom, every lab. He doesn't belong where people fight to live. They didn't ask why. They'd seen the look in my eyes. I didn't need revenge. I just needed space. Safe space. And Liam, he didn't scream, didn't beg, because this time, no one even saw him leave. He was just invisible. The envelope was plain, no return address, but I knew the handwriting. Mom's. For a moment, I just stared at it. Did I want to open it? No, but I did. Inside, one page, folded twice. "We are struggling," it began. "Your brother has lost his job. The mortgage is months overdue. We're being sued. Everything is falling apart. We never wanted to hurt you. We thought we were doing what was right. Please help us." "No, dear Claire. No, we love you. No apology. Just desperation and entitlement wrapped in ink." And suddenly, I wasn't 17 and broken. I was 24, whole and powerful, and I had a choice to make. I didn't write much, just one paragraph, folded cleanly, no emotion on the paper, but fire underneath every word. "I was your daughter when I lay unconscious in that hospital bed. But you chose your son, so live with the choice you made." No signature, no address, just the truth, sealed, sent. I didn't wait for a reply. I didn't need one, because closure isn't about hearing "I'm sorry." It's about knowing you'll never need to ask again. She sat by the lake. No mansion, no flashy car, no designer heels. Just her. A simple bench, bare feet in the grass. The wind played with her hair. The water shimmered like peace. She closed her eyes. "I survived," she whispered, "and that is enough." No applause, no crowd, but in that silence, there was power, because freedom isn't loud. It's the soft breath you take when no one owns you anymore. There were no chains left to break, no voices left to silence, no shadows left to fear. Just Claire. Not the name her parents gave her, not the label the world once used. Claire. Chosen, earned, lived. She smiled not because life was perfect, but because it was hers now. And when she stood up from that bench by the lake, she didn't look back, because the past didn't deserve her eyes. Only the future did. Sometimes the people who were supposed to protect you are the very ones who try to break you. But your story doesn't end with them. It begins the moment you choose yourself. You don't need revenge. You don't need their apology. What you need is your voice, your name, and your freedom. Your survival is your victory. Your peace is your power. And the life you build on your own, that's your legacy. If this story moved you, if you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or unwanted, then this channel is for you. Subscribe now and join a community where silent voices rise, where every story reminds you you are not alone, you matter, you belong. Tap the bell, because the next story might be the one that sets you free.